Centennial Trauma is a variant of the 3-slot Centennial weapon, featuring a C-clamp for added melee damage, more specifically blunt damage. Why is that important? Well, it keeps these guys from exploding. Design-wise, most of them feature a hole in the center of the stock that is used to wrap a cord around the C-clamp. I assume it's to keep it from moving anywhere. Other than that, it just kind of looks cool. This feature is not present on the Post Malone Circus variant, or this one.
You like jazz?
Alright, parent gun today is a Henry Big Boy. This is not period accurate in the slightest.
I'm not about to pay for a real one. I mean, $125 in shipping?
It is a relatively new gun. The Sidegate model, this is 357, which is also not in-game accurate. So the stock I've already kind of messed with, which is why I'm more inclined to do this. I tried doing some laser engraving on it, didn't quite turn out the way I would have liked. So this is going to get lopped off, going to drill a hole in down there and attach this, as well as drill a hole in right around there.
Another not safe for YouTube arts and crafts section later, we have the final product. So in game we have regular medium ammo, Subsonic, full metal jacket, high velocity, and DumDum. I think there's one more, but I can't seem to remember right now. I mentioned in the last video that I like the melee weapon being on the muzzle end of the hatchet, because if the gun were to go off when I was swinging it, it wouldn't hurt me. The Centennial Trauma has the problem where I'm flagging myself almost every time when I swing the thing. You can see when I swing it side by side, the muzzle is pointed towards me. I thought initially when you were swinging it like in game that you would have your thumb like right there when you were swinging it, so even if it were to go off, it wouldn't hit the firing pin in any way. But you don't. You hold it down there more like a baseball bat, which is fine for a game where something like that isn't a factor, but this is a real weapon. This is a problem I have with the Talon variants too, so this next section I'm showing, I will have the action open when I swing it, and you won't see me shooting the gun and going into swinging. It is confirmed unloaded. Levering is something that my Henry does very well. This next test, I have the gun shoulder, but I'm not aiming down the sights, trying to see how accurate I am at 15 feet. High velocity I decided to replicate with 357 versus the 38 special I've been using for the other round types. The high velocity in game is good on paper, but the sacrifice of the ammo is something that I don't particularly enjoy. I don't use it very often personally. Is it good? Yes, technically. It's very good. The range on it and the bullet drop-off, especially with the update, does make it good. I just don't think it's worth the sacrifice. Again, that's personal opinion. Simulate the muzzle climb difference between the standard medium ammo, in this case a 38 special lead round nose. High velocity 357 rounds. It's a little hard to pick up on the video, but I do feel the rise a lot more with the 357 versus the 38, and it was a lot louder than the 38 too. Like, there's not a lot of surface area on the C-clamp here, so I kind of expected to feel a little bit more like shooting one of the pistol braces. But honestly, not too bad. Not too bad. It's not as great as a normal stock, not awful. While Subsonic is available to the Centennial Trauma, it's usually meant for the Centennial Shorty with the suppressor attached. While there is a valid reason to equip Subsonic rounds to the Trauma because you do get extra ammunition, however, you don't gain the advantage of having a quieter gun overall. Like, it is marginally quieter than the base ammo, but it's still very loud without the suppressor, as there's still the boom from the cartridge initially going off, and you do lose velocity and range. As a control, if you want to call it that, I loaded up with my AR9 with high velocity and shot at Subsonic. These are 115 grain. And then I loaded up with 150 grain Subsonics. And these two are my two favorite ammo types in the game. DumDum I like causing bleeding damage, but since it became scarce, I've been moving towards FMJ as my primary. Why? Now, the term DumDum got tacticooled out of modern vernacular, much like the word silencer in lieu of suppressor. Basically, DumDum is an expanding bullet, and in-game it causes bleeding damage, so you'll lose health over time versus any other ammo where you just take a single punch of damage, essentially. Now, FMJ is one of those terms that you see in video games a lot, and it sounds cooler than it actually is. Full Metal Jacket in most games has increased penetration, but when you're out buying ammunition, you find out that FMJ is like the most common practice round, which I became very disillusioned with FMJ. Now, granted, in this time period, lead cast bullets would be the most common type of ammunition. FMJ kind of came around as more autoloaders started to become more popular. In-game, FMJ has increased penetration, as well as better damage as well as retaining damage over distance. So this next test is going to be a ballistic dummy. Now, first up, we have a 38 special that I've been using as my standard. Hit a little high with the standard. Went straight through the top of the head. Not much expansion. Not a terrible exit wound. Followed by the FMJ. FMJ, clear through the cheek. A little bit of expansion. I found it's cool that it didn't fall over like the 38 special did before it. Again. And DumDum. DumDum. Very big difference in expansion. I went in through the top of the head right there. I'm gonna almost stick my entire finger in there. Through the head. Out the back. Exit wound. I can actually stick my finger in versus the smaller ones that kind of have to force in, but there's, oh, it's still, you can kind of see they're really expanded inside, which is what DumDum is supposed to do. Now, granted, I was using a full 357 instead of 38 special on the other two shots, and those ones kind of hit a little off to the side and then go all the way through the main portion of the gel. But even then, this one still would have had time to expand up top. This next part take with a bit of a grain of salt, because DumDum can't penetrate any surfaces, which I don't think is accurate to real life. Now granted, again, I'm using 357 instead of the in 4060, but I still think it can penetrate a lot of surfaces. Just to prove a point, I put this one behind a wooden board and shot with DumDum. FMJ, we're gonna try aim low. Yeah, it's not good. Oh, yeah. Oh. I took the whole side of his cheek off with that. In Game 2, FMJ is the only ammo type that can penetrate corrugated metal like this. Now, again, granted, this is an in-game balance thing, so I'm not upset with it, but just for posterity's sake. Now, I accidentally set my camera to time-lapse on the first go-around, but I was standing at about 20 feet from the target. Not surprised, all the ammunition types I had went through the corrugated metal. Granted, this is a smokeless powder cartridge, much more modern round than the one that would be used in game. I'm gonna step back a little bit further and try to... Now, I didn't notice this the first time around, but I actually missed the standard ammunition and the Subsonic, or 50 feet away, which is a little embarrassing. Again, not surprising, they all went through again. Was aiming a little high there, but so post thoughts on the Centennial trauma. It works great. The big problem that I had really, and there's two of them. One, I wasn't paying attention to how this thing was tied. So this top part came loose. These ones here worked fine. These ones were fine. This one also pretty tight. I didn't catch that there was more that were tied around this bottom part looking at the actual in-game files. So I could have put a little notches in there so that those could have sat in a little bit better. But in my defense, I was watching Hotel Transylvania. I was watching when I was making this. The wrap was cool. I like the wrap. I like the wrapping up here. This has nothing to do with the actual gun. I did reinforce this centerpiece here quite a bit. I did reinforce right in there, which I think helped quite a bit. I'm not positive, but I don't think it hurt it anyway. There is a metal pipe little section in there that helped keep the wires. If it wasn't for the fact that I was flagging myself every single time I swung this thing, essentially, I think this thing is cool. I don't recommend it at all because of flagging yourself as much as it does. And I was doing as safe as I could where I wasn't having it loaded. So yeah, I don't recommend shooting it load or swinging it loaded, but it was cool. I liked it. It worked incredibly well. I wasn't expecting it to smash the brick and still be in good shape after that. That was very impressive. Anyway, thanks for watching. God bless and all that. Be sure to like, subscribe, all those good YouTube things. Tell me what you like, what you didn't like, what I think I could do better. You know, whatever you want, really. Why isn't it ending? So glass bullets are nearly impossible to make, as I've found out. Rifles are called rifles because of rifling. Rifling is these grooves in the barrel that cause the bullet to spin. Now it spins because it's an interference fit. meaning that the bullet is literally squished into the barrel in order to impart a spin on it. Now, my leading poison expert lied on her resume. Turns out venom and poison are in fact two different things, so I had to go on to plan B, which was my friend recommending the CCI shot shells. They're plastic and fill the shot, which is not poison, but I think the poison merits its own video entirely, as trying to force fit a glass projectile proving to be quite troublesome. Much like the DumDum rounds, the poison rounds can't penetrate any surfaces either, and they will actually leave a little green splatter from where they hit, which, considering that it makes it impossible for you to heal unless you have an antidote, I don't mind this at all. And while I'm not sure about glass, I know these plastic shot shells have a tough time penetrating wood. So just to demonstrate how awful penetration these things have, I've got a wood plank set up there. I'm almost positive this won't go through. They hit right there. Like, even like point blank. Like, it had to be point blank for it to even consider going through, which it did. But it didn't go very deep into the nose there. There's all the shot right there at the top of the nose. But even then, some of the shot didn't even go through. Yeah, there's definitely some shot in there, but it's not much. And I was point blank. Like, that's not good, but that's flesh wound level.